What's going on, YouTube? My name is Dr. Tony Do. I'm a physical therapist, and I've also been working out and heavily invested into the fitness lifestyle since I was the age of 16. Bodybuilding, powerlifting, nutrition, all of that. But with intermittent fasting, it's coming up onto about 10 years at this point with how long I've implemented it into my lifestyle. So that's what this video is about. Intermittent fasting, let's talk about it. So like I mentioned, I've been implementing intermittent fasting into my lifestyle for the better part of a decade now. And this is well before intermittent fasting was mainstream in the media like it is today.
I have been doing intermittent fasting.
Every day what I do is I eat for 8 hours and I fast for 16.
That's right. It involves eating only during specified windows of time each day. We're going to talk about
with intermittent fasting, it's like, okay, there's all these diets and eat this and gluten that and all this. And then now the new diet is don't eat for 18 hours.
When I started intermittent fasting, it was basically taboo in the bodybuilding world. Everyone thought that you're going to magically lose all your muscle. You're supposed to eat all these meals, 6 to 8 meals a day. And it was myself and Greg O'Gallagher from Kino Body, who still does intermittent fasting to this day as well. We both were one of the first few people on YouTube to do it, as well as there was a guy named Martin Birkin who really popularized the method. But at the time, it was basically taboo. So let's get something straight. Fasting or intermittent fasting is not a new concept to mankind by any means. We've been going periods of without food and periods of with food for as long as humankind has been around. But in the last century or so, everyone's been saying breakfast is so important. It's the most important meal of the day. And to me, that's almost a marketing ploy, a marketing concept, because anyone you talk to nowadays who has never heard of intermittent fasting, they think that it's taboo because everyone always says breakfast is the most important meal of the day. The method that I personally have utilized over the last decade is a 16x8 method. What that means is 16 hours without food where you're fasting, and I'm sleeping for most of that, and 8 hours with food. What that translates to is I usually have my last meal between 6 to 8 p.m. and I'll have my first meal right around noon. So I simply don't eat breakfast, and that works great for me. I usually work in the morning, skip breakfast, and don't even think about food. I'll have a lot of water and I'll have a lot of caffeine, but no food consumption. And I want to get something straight as well with the terminology. Intermittent fasting can refer to a lot of different things, a lot of different splits. Some people utilize alternate day fasting where they eat one day, don't eat the next day. Some people do the warrior diet where it's one meal per day and that's it. That's also a form of intermittent fasting. So there's a lot of terminology out there and different ways to do it. And as a result, it's hard to do research on it because there's so many different ways to approach it. The majority of the studies have been done on animal models, and only a few human studies have been done with intermittent fasting or some form of fasting. There are other videos that go more into the research of it, but based on what we have right now, these are the proposed benefits. Improved mental sharpness, optimized hormone, decreased inflammation within the body, cardiovascular benefits, better weight loss as far as setting yourself up for it via increase in growth hormone and decrease in insulin levels. At a cellular level, improved autophagy. So that's your body's ability to get rid and filter out the bad stuff at a cellular level. Improved blood pressure, cholesterol, and weight loss have been seen in obese individuals within a few studies. And because of the infancy stage of these studies, in the long term, we don't know how fasting or intermittent fasting affects us. We don't know what the benefits are. We don't know what the potential side effects or downsides are, if there are any, because there haven't been many long-term studies. Let's take a deeper dive into how intermittent fasting looks in my life and how I've implemented it into my lifestyle. Like I mentioned, I'll go until noon in the morning without any consumption of food. From there, I'll have a protein bar, a protein shake, a snack with that, a piece of fruits, just a couple hundred calories. Later in the afternoon, maybe around 4 o'clock or so, I'll have another little snack, a couple hundred calories as well. And I'm someone that loves to have huge meals. I can eat a lot in one sitting. So between the hours of 6 to 8 p.m., I'll have my final meal anywhere between 1,000 to 1,600 calories, depending on what my goals are for that time with my body composition. And then I won't eat until the next day. So repeat that, lots of water throughout the day, very, very simple. And simplicity is how I would keep it if you were thinking about trying intermittent fasting. It's not something you need to be so firm about, so strict about. You don't need to be like, okay, my first meal has to be right at 12 p.m. My last meal has to be right at 7:35 p.m. I want you to give yourself a range. Like I said, 6 to 8 p.m. for me, that's a big range. And then I'll have something between 12 to 1, depending on when I have it. I'm not very strict about it. And a lot of the research shows that these benefits usually occur after that 14-15 hour mark. So you can go up to 20 hours if you want and, do the other types of intermittent fasting. But my point is, don't be strict about it. It's a way to aid your lifestyle and not so much something that you need to be so strict about. With all those benefits mentioned, where the real beauty and benefit of intermittent fasting is to me from a practical standpoint is it's the ability to eat larger meals and feel full while not consuming a lot of calories. All those benefits aside, none of those are going to allow you to lose weight if you're eating in a calorie surplus. You can't break the law of thermodynamics, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is whether it's intermittent fasting, which first and foremost isn't a diet. It's a structured way of eating and how to set up your schedule versus something like keto, where it is kind of a diet because you're cutting out something, or there's a lot of other diets out there. But my point is that no diet or structured way of eating is going to cause you to lose weight. What causes you to lose weight is burning more calories than you eat, being in a calorie deficit for a prolonged period of time. And where intermittent fasting helps with that is you're simply having less time throughout the day where you're consuming food, so the likelihood of you consuming less calories is a lot higher. Who would I recommend intermittent fasting for? I recommend it for people who are very busy, who don't have a lot of time to think about food, first and foremost. I recommend it for someone who loves to eat large meals like myself, who has a hard time feeling full. I'd recommend it for you as well. I recommend it for someone who struggles to lose weight or keep weight off. Intermittent fasting is a great way to just structure your day so that you have less of an opportunity to eat less calories while still feeling satiated throughout the day. Who do I not recommend it for? Someone who has a hard time gaining weight. If you have a hard time gaining weight, you want to be eating as much throughout the day as possible. I recommend it for someone who is diabetic or has some underlying disease or pathology where eating influences that disease or pathology. I would consult with your primary care provider and make sure it's okay. So some closing thoughts for you all. Intermittent fasting has worked wonders for me over the course of the last 10 years and my fitness journey. And it's done so not so much because of those benefits that I said. It's because it's allowed me a structure that I could utilize in my life to where I don't need to think about food in the morning, focus on school, focus on work, whatever I had at hand there. Eat larger meals throughout the day, be able to go out to eat at night without worrying about going way over in calories. And there are ways that you can structure this to where you don't need to be as strict. Like I said, give yourself some ranges. You don't necessarily need to stick to it every single day. On Saturday or Sunday, if my girlfriend wants to go out for breakfast, I'll go out for breakfast. I don't worry too much about it. It's a way to enhance your lifestyle and allow you to maintain the body composition that you want without having to be too strict or worry about too much. Now, if you're someone that is on the fence about trying intermittent fasting, my suggestion is just give it a try for 2 weeks. You will feel hungry in the morning for the first 2 weeks, but your body adapts over time. Your ghrelin, your leptin, your hunger hormones, all that stabilizes and catches up, and you won't feel hungry in the morning. I promise you that. And honestly, especially here in the United States, we live in a society where we tend to overeat. So fasting, if there's any potential side effects to it, in my opinion, can only help us in the long run and really not provide any hurts. And that's all I have for you in this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment below. Any questions, ask it below as well. I'm great at responding to comments. And I would actually love to hear, have you done intermittent fasting? What you liked, what you didn't like, do you still do it? Leave a comment below with that. Thumbs up the video, subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more videos in the future, as well as links in the description box below for online personal training, whether it's workout programming, nutrition, or if you have any aches and pains that you want a physical therapist to take a look at, tonydofitness@gmail.com, email in the description box below as well. Again, any questions, leave it below. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Peace.